I wanna do real bad things with you.
True Blood Season 6. We finally reached this season before the final season starts. Now, rewatching this whole series, I was thinking that Season 4 was the worst. And who knows, maybe at the end of the day it is, but rewatching Season 6, I didn't remember how disappointing this season is. I mean, let's start at the beginning. After Bill drank the blood of Lilith, and he's a monster. He's a beast. He's tearing shit up. He's destroying that authority building, and he's uncontrollable. You can't predict what he's going to do next. I love that. I said, wow, this is Bill. This isn't even Bill anymore. Like Sookie said, Bill died, and this is just something else. And how the whole group was afraid of him. They didn't know what to think. And then when he summons Jessica, Jessica goes there, and they all go there, and they try to kill Bill. When it's revealed that, no, he is still Bill. And so he's not a monster, he's not evil, like we thought he was going. He just has this blood, and he has some extra powers, which, okay, are a plus, but all he is now is just, he thinks he's a prophet, he thinks he can see the future, and he thinks he's supposed to save these vampires. And I'm not saying that all of this or any of this wasn't interesting, but this isn't what I wanted. This isn't the Bill that they were setting up at the end of Season 5. They were setting up Bill becoming something else, being evil. And I'm not saying we couldn't even have him become good again, but give me one season where he is this ruthless Bill that they were setting up. What the fuck? Why did they do this? Why? Why did they set something up that was so fucking awesome, gave us possibly the best cliffhanger of the whole series, and this is what they do with him? He's having visions of Lilith, and I just so disappointed by that. The governor comes into the town, and he says, alright, I'm basically declaring war on the vampires because they're out of control. And he starts taking some of them into prisoner. And you see this prison where they're doing experiments on them, and all of that was interesting. And this governor character, sure, it's not like this is the first TV show to have an evil governor character, but still, I thought it made sense for humans to take some control and fight back for everything that they've been through. You would think that eventually the government or somebody would have to step in to take control of these vampires. Now, what I love the most about this, though, is that you find out Sarah Newland, who is back after Season 2, we haven't seen her, she is with the governor, and she's kind of the brainchild behind all of this. This is her idea. This is everything she's been wanting, is to take vampires prisoner, eventually kill them all, and be done with it. And I love that they brought Sarah Newland back. Anna Camp is so great as this character, and she's such a good villain for the show because she's so goofy, she's so over the top. Her and the way she's so into religion and God, and how she thinks she's doing all this for God. The one scene where she chases after one of the business partner ladies, and she literally stabs her in the back of the head with her own heel. It's gold. Sarah Newland is gold. When all this goes down with the governor, and you even find out that they have these contacts that enable them to not be glamored, and they're prepared for vampires. So, what does Eric do? He kidnaps the governor's daughter, Willa, and he turns her into a vampire. What? I know, it was so weird because I'm like, Eric's a character who he's only turned one person, Pam. So to have him turn somebody else, that's huge. And I get that he was a little desperate, and it's a situation where he had to do something to one-up the governor because the governor was fully prepared. So I get that he felt like he had to do it. It just seemed like it came out of nowhere for him to turn somebody. And I knew next to nothing about this Willa character, and I still don't feel like I know her all that well towards the end of the season. I did feel bad, though, when, to get revenge for that, the governor kills Nora, Eric's sister. They inject her with Hep V, this virus that they've created, and it's more sad to see what it does to Nora, how it just slowly makes her sick. And the scene where Eric is holding her, and she literally evaporates into blood and guts in his arms, and he's crying. It's so sad. Speaking of death, Luna dies. Sam's shifter girlfriend. She died in like the first 10 minutes of the season from what carried over from last, because she shifted into a person, I guess, too many times. So it literally kills her. And I was pretty pissed to see her die, because I really liked her, the actress, and I liked her with Sam. And just killing her off like that felt really weird. And then Sam pretty much spends the whole season trying to take care of Emma, but you have Alcide, who's now a Packmaster, wanting to take Emma with them because Emma's a werewolf. And Sam starts to develop a relationship with this girl, Nicole. Nicole, she came in with a group of people who wanted to, I guess, take pictures and show evidence and proof that werewolves and other shifters existed. So she gets caught up with Sam. He, I guess, ends up protecting her, and they end up falling for each other. And I just don't like this girl, Nicole. I don't like that she is a substitute replacement for Luna. I don't like the fact that she's so young. She's like 23. Sam's almost twice her age. And she just seems like she just came out of nowhere. And then Sam gets her pregnant, so now she's a mainstay on the show. I don't like that. And there's a scene later on when Sookie goes up to Sam, and she even kind of throws out the whole, like, hey, there's a part of me that thought you and I would have ended up together. And I go, yeah, I would have loved for this whole show to have ended with Sam and Sookie finally ending up together. I think that would have been the perfect way to do it. That's one thing about Bill that I do say I liked, is that I guess it was because of the blood of Lilith that whenever him and Sookie have interaction, he's so cold to her. He's so just like, I don't give a fuck about you anymore. I'm only here to use you for my needs or to help the vampires. I don't love you anymore. And I like that Bill has grown so much that that's how he feels about her. Of course, though, towards the end of the season, he comes back to being in love with her. Of course, of course. Now, some of the side plots, you have Andy, who now has 4 fairy daughters. And it was weird that they just grew in age so rapidly. I'm like, how does this work? Do all fairies age this quickly? And if they do, then do they age at all? Because I remember the other fairies saying that, oh, this one is 500 years old, that one's 300 years old. So I'm like, well, how does the aging work then? But there's a moment where Jessica is supposed to get the 4 of them to help Bill out because Bill needs fairy blood. And Jessica can't control herself, and she ends up sucking all of their blood dry, and she kills 3 of them. 1, Andy's able to save. And this is the point where I liked Andy having a daughter because it gave him someone to protect, a purpose. And I liked how he had this sort of hatred for Bill and Jessica and for vampires. He didn't trust them anymore. I found all that interesting. We have Terry Belfour, who, the way he dies in this season, I'm a little upset by too. There's a part of me that rewatching this whole series, I could understand maybe him doing this because he was suicidal, he was crazy. The war really did mess him up, even though that stuff last season was done with him. There is a part of me that understands him coming to this point where he's going to hire this guy to kill him. But I feel like he's grown so much. He has a family now. He's with Arlene. And you would have hoped for a character like this to end in a happy place. And it sucks that it's just like, no, I guess he doesn't get that happy ending. And for someone like Arlene, who's already been through hell, just another thing to just really screw her up. I did appreciate that they gave him pretty much his own episode of the funeral, and we got some flashback. It was a good way to say goodbye to the character. I did appreciate that. Now, possibly my most upsetting thing about this season, even more so than not getting Evil Bill. Yes, this one pisses me off the most. Warlow. Warlow is a character that they built up last season with that awesome flashback of Sookie seeing how Warlow killed her parents. Just how creepy he came off in that short moment. I couldn't wait to meet this character. He seemed like he was going to be a badass vampire that they said has been alive for 6,000 years or more. And no, when we meet him, he pretends to be Ben. And he is this nice guy who I guess has been in love with Sookie all this time. He's half vampire, half fairy, which I guess I don't really mind all that much. But I don't like that they turned him into just another love interest. Sookie didn't need another love interest. Trust me, she had plenty of that going around. And I don't like the whole retelling of Sookie's parents were going to kill her. And what, so Warlow was saving her? Really? That's what you turned this into? No. To me, Warlow was a badass evil vampire with the trench coat and the fucking hat. He looked badass, and he just brutally murdered her family. This season, though, no, he's a nice guy. He's tortured because he was turned into a vampire against his will. I get they want to bring some layer and dimension to the character. Fine, and they probably wanted to subvert our expectations of him being evil. But especially when you get towards the end of the season and Sookie is trying to decide whether she wants to be his vampire bride. The last episode, he just literally switches, and he's evil again. And he tries to force her into being with him, and he's willing to kill anyone in his way. And I'm like, where was this for the last 10 episodes? What the fuck? If you're going to kill off Russell Edgington, who was probably their best villain that they've had, you got to give me another awesome vampire character, and Warlow could have been that. I'm so disappointed with how they handled the Warlow character. Also, Sookie's kind of a whore. And I'm not saying I dislike Sookie. I know a lot of people by this point don't like her. But because you gotta love Anna Paquin. She's such a good actress, and she's too good as Sookie that I can't say I dislike her. I just don't like how she knows what Warlow's done. She knows that he's killed all the other fairies in that little club area. He's killed her parents, and then she just has sex with him. And she's even thinking about being with the guy. What? Who are these writers that came in and did all of this? The very last thing I'll mention is Rutger Hauer comes in as Sookie and Jason's fairy grandfather. And that is one thing about this season that I loved. Rutger Hauer is a great actor, and it was cool to see him be involved with Jason and Sookie, and him teaching Sookie about her powers, how her light can kill vampires. So, I know I ranted about the season. It's really just not getting Evil Bill and Warlow. That's the two main things that I just hate about the season. Pretty much everything else I thought was okay, and some of it I still did like. I feel bad ranting on this because I still do like True Blood. It's just, I think it hurts more that the potential was there to be an awesome season. The follow-up to Season 5, I think a lot was there, and they dropped the ball. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of Season 6? Were you disappointed as well? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!